If you're building a Jeep to tackle true Rubicon-level trails, the OEM aluminum steering knuckles are just not going to cut it. I already had this set of Synergy HD ball joints ready to go, but once I took the wheel off the Wrangler and saw that it had the OEM aluminum steering knuckle instead of the OEM iron steering knuckle that my Gladiator EcoDiesel has, I knew that it was going to have to be swapped, and that was non-negotiable. Well, the build budget got walloped, but these Synergy iron knuckles are going to provide total peace of mind when I'm out on the trail. So one thing I want to say about these Synergy steering knuckles that surprised me when I opened the boxes, if you look at the right side, it's got a place for the drag link and the tie rod. And if you look at the left side, it's also got a place for the drag link and the tie rod. That's because Synergy doesn't make separate sets for right hand and left hand drive. Every set they sell has an attachment point for a drag link and a tie rod, no matter what side your steering wheel is on. At first, I thought I had gotten the wrong part. I'll have links below. You can purchase any of these items you see in the video, parts or tools, and it doesn't cost you any extra, and it supports the channel, and it means the world to me. So something I always like to do when I get parts like these is do a weight comparison. Okay, there's our OEM aluminum knuckle. 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Now here's our Synergy knuckle. And that comes in at 22 pounds, 2 ounces. That's basically a 14-pound difference in the two parts. Now that is a massive weight difference between this OEM aluminum and the Synergy iron steering knuckle. It's not just a weight difference, it's a strength difference. Synergy says this steering knuckle is 100% stronger than this one. And that's the kind of peace of mind you need when you're out on the trail. If you're not going off-road, you're not putting bigger tires on your vehicle, go ahead and leave these aluminum knuckles on there. You're going to be fine. Now these Synergy steering knuckles aren't going to do me a bit of good until I install these Synergy HD ball joints. Now I'm working within a budget on this Willys Rubicon Killer project. I wanted to shave some money without losing quality on the parts I was installing on it. Now on my Gladiator EcoDiesel, I had a budget, but there was more room in it than there is on this project. I installed on that one Dynatrac ball joints, which are rebuildable on the Jeep. That's the difference, or one of the differences, between these ball joints. They're both real solid, strong ball joints. These are not rebuildable on the Jeep. They will have to be popped out and a new set put in when these wear out, but I don't expect these are going to wear out for a while. If you're interested in knowing more about those Dynatrac HD ball joints and you want to learn how to install them, I got a great video, and there'll be a link appearing over my head to that video. But the time for talking is over. Time to get these awesome heavy-duty ball joints installed. Let's get to work. So just before we go to installing these ball joints, I wanted to just explain a little bit about the ball joint press. This ball joint press and this adapter kit I rented from O'Reilly's, and you can get it for free. You rent it for free, it's great. You don't have to go buy an expensive ball joint kit. Comes with a lot of different adapters. And if you're new to ball joints, it can be kind of a mystery, because you have to figure out which adapter is going to work with your particular ball joint. And so there's a lot of options. For these Synergy ball joints, I realized I had to go down and get the extra four-wheel drive kit. This is a four-wheel drive adapter kit. It fits right in, lets the bottom of the ball joint protrude from the bottom, and it fits right on the edge here. So unless you've been dealing with ball joints and you know all about them, I'm a sheet metal mechanic, not an auto mechanic. So a lot of this stuff I get into is new. So you get used to thinking on your feet, figuring stuff out. So installing ball joints in the Jeep is not that hard. There are a couple things that can be a little nerve-wracking, and that the main thing is pulling the axle. So this is the axle right here, and you have to pull it out to do the ball joints. That could be a little scary. You can do a lot of damage if you don't do things right. The fad is a really important part. Some people eliminate the fad. It's really actually a good thing. And where I'm going to get my new axles, they told me most people decide to keep the fad. But when we pull this axle out, we just want to make sure to support it so it doesn't hurt the seal inside. I'm taking my Jeep down to get new axles. They're going to inspect those seals. So if there's anything wrong with them, they're going to change them out for me. But I still want to be awful careful putting this in because I don't want diff fluid coming out the end. And that's what happens. If you get a bad seal, now the diff fluid's just going to be pouring out the end, making a big mess of everything. So one thing I forgot to mention with these Synergy ball joints, they have a lower and an upper. And also, this spot here is for grease fitting. So these are greasable ball joints. And that's going to make them last a lot longer, just being able to grease them. So after I removed the old OEM ball joints, I cleaned out the ball joint bore with this Scotch guard. So I got all the rust and everything out. It's nice and smooth. If you got any real dings on there, you want to take a file and smooth them out. But these are nice. Nice light coating of anti-seize on my ball joints. Synergy recommends that you point the grease fitting to the back of the Jeep, and we'll install that after this is in. And the trick is making sure that we get this started real nice. We need the receiver for the top, and you'll see why. And the reason that we do the bottom first is because we got to stick that thread up through. So I think we're all set. I looked real close all around. I think we're real nice and even. Looks like we're heading in nice and straight. Looks like we're flush all the way around, nice and flat. We're good. We'll take this press off and see what we look like. This is exactly what this is going to look like. It's going to be lower on this side and higher on this side. It's just the nature of the angles of this ball joint bore. I think there's less chance of me making a big mess if I put the anti-seize in the bore instead of on the actual ball joint. It'll work just as good. Double check myself, make sure I got the upper. I'm all set up nice and even. Starting off right on the right foot. We got another joint pressed in. So there's two things that Synergy wants us to do before we start putting those knuckles on. They want us to install these Zerk fittings. And the other thing we want to do is we want to have the cotter pin opening lined up perpendicular to the axle. And I'm going to need something a little stronger than this to do that. We'll get that steering knuckle up on the ball joints and install the bottom castle nut and then torque that to 22 foot-pounds. Now we've got to install this tapered bushing. And there's only one way this tapered bushing can go in. This flat spot here has to go on the flat spot on the knuckle. Synergy says we have to hammer the tapered bushing into place. Using the castle nut to drive it up damages the ball joint and voids the warranty. I got that tapered bushing up in place by hitting it with a hammer, and I've got my castle nut installed on the bottom finger tight. Go ahead and torque this castle nut to 55 foot-pounds. This is a 22 millimeter socket. Okay, there's my 55 foot-pounds. We just need to get one of these notches in the castle nut to line up with the hole in the spindle so that we can get a cotter pin in there. And you never want to loosen it to do that. You always want to tighten it. So we're going to go a little tighter so we line up that hole. Now that we have our cotter pin installed in our upper castle nut, we can drop back down to the lower castle nut and final torque that one to 48 foot-pounds and then install our cotter pin there. Now that we have our steering knuckle installed, we can reconnect our drag link and our tie rod. Do not reuse the nuts that we're holding your drag link and tie rod on. They are single-use nuts. You need to have new ones. When you're torquing suspension like this, you need to have a crow's foot on the end of your torque wrench to get there, and then you need to use a 10 millimeter, in this case, backup wrench to stop the spindle from turning so you can get that torque value. Torque them to spec for your particular vehicle and suspension. Okay, we got the ball joints in, we got the steering knuckle in, we got the tie rod and drag link reconnected. Now we can put the axle in. So this is your front axle disconnect. I've taken the motor off. So there should be a link appearing up on the top of the screen that will take you to the article I wrote that tells you exactly what you need to know to deal with that fad to get your axle out and get your axle back in safely. One thing we want to remember is that the speed sensor wants to be towards the front of the Jeep, and if you position that now, it's going to be a lot easier. I got some diff fluid on those splines so that way they're all nice and lubed up when they go in. And I got some anti-seize around here so that my hub bearing doesn't get stuck when I want to take it out. So we're going to be aiming for that shift collar, and we want to be super careful and support this axle going in because there's a seal in there. We don't want to damage that seal. Otherwise, we're going to end up with diff fluid all over, coming right out the axle. That must be getting pretty close. So our outer axle is reinstalled. It's connected to our inner axle, and our shift collar is in place. Now we'll get our 3 unit bearing bolts. Get some blue Loctite on these. Use a 13 millimeter 6-sided socket. Then we're going to torque them to 75 foot-pounds. 75 foot-pounds here on our unit bearing. 2, 3. Well, that's our new Synergy iron steering knuckle. It's a heck of an upgrade from that OEM aluminum. We got our new Synergy heavy-duty ball joints in there. I'm loving it. This Jeep took a big step forward today. Now I'm looking forward to all kinds of adventures in this Jeep. And I hope to be having you guys come along with me when I take those adventures and get out there. This one's going to have lockers. It's going to have RCV axles in the front. It's going to have chromoly axles in the back. It's going to be just really geared up. I hope that you'll come along. Check the playlist for the other videos, and there'll be more videos going in there as I do them. We'll be putting more parts on here and just having a blast with this Jeep. And maybe you get some ideas for what you want to do when you build your own Jeep out of watching this. Hit that thumbs up button. Leave me some comments. What did I do wrong? How could I do it better? That's what I really want to hear. And I'll have links in the description for all the parts and all the tools that you've seen today. And if you use those links, it doesn't cost you an extra penny, but it helps me out. And I really appreciate your support. Really, it means a lot. I will see you on the next one. And don't forget, on Muddy Ruttzz, the best is yet to come.